Okay. Second album that I wanted to talk about is Kehlani. It was good until it wasn't. Another beautifully well-rounded album title, album cover art. Apparently, the cover art tells two stories with the front and the back of the cover. And it's a little strange to do that nowadays because no one has. You good? Because no one has really CDs anymore, CD cases. So it's hard to find both covers and like have it tell a story. But apparently, the front cover is her looking over the wall, seeing everything that's in front of her in her life, because apparently everything before she made this album was just fucking haywire as can be within her relationship life. Just everything was going absolutely nuts emotionally, which she definitely poured all of that energy into this album. Every single ounce of that crazy, savage energy that she built up from everything she was going through, poured it all into this album. And shit got freaky, man. Shit got freaky on this one. Real freaky. And I am a fan. I'm a fan. Talk that talk, Kehlani. I mean, hit me up or something also. So the title, it was good until it wasn't, sums up breakups that happen without one focal point or one reason as to why it happened, which a lot of us have been there. There's nothing exactly that happened. It was, it was great. It was great. It was great. Things falter off. Life's change. People start to change. You start to grow. Growth comes into play. Some do it faster than others. It happens. And then it was just good until it wasn't good. And sometimes there's no real answer as to what exactly happened. It was just good until it wasn't. And the story behind that album title, which she has a song on this album with Boy Wonder, who is the main producer for Drake. And she went up to Toronto to finish up the song, which we will get to. And after the song, she took a stop at Drake's new mansion he's got up there. And apparently they sat down, just had a nice little chat. And she was talking about some personal stuff, probably the relationship that most of this album was written after. And, she was just talking. It was just like it was good until it wasn't. He said, say that again. She said, it was good until it wasn't. He said, that's the album right there. That's how the story goes. I think she told that story, so I'm pretty sure that's how it went. And yeah, so shout out Drake for playing a part in helping make the album title. But she killed it all the way through this. The last time we were talking about was over 60 minutes long. And, I talked a little bit about how it is a little tough to make a solid R&B album that long. And I believe this one hovers right around 40 minutes, 14, 15 tracks. Very, very precise, to the point, really no fillers at all. None. And that is beautiful. And that is how you get your point across when an album is themed this way. How it is just all about fucking sex, savagery, breakups, heartbreak, just toxic behavior. You don't need to fill anything in when the album's about that, because that stuff is so intense. Those topics are so intense, you can get right to the point. And when you get right to the point, there is no need to beat around the bush. So let's get into the tracks. Also, this album is very well themed in a story mode as well. It's not the best storytelling album in a sense where it paints an entire picture it paints an entire picture with the way that the tracks are listed, but it is themed like that. It is themed like that. And that's awesome and super creative when an artist is able to do that. And it just shows that they really fucking care about what they're talking about. So track 1, Toxic. Guess who's back? $sign with some more background vocals. How many times is this man going to do background vocals? He's got them on here. Just off the top of my head, I can think. Here, he's got it on Janae's album. He's got it on Jaded on Drake's album, 2018. I know. He's got it on, well, let's reach all the way back. I don't know why this one's coming to mind, but Only One by Kanye West, which is like one of Kanye's best songs, and it wasn't even on any album ever and just kind of flew by, and it's an amazing song. But I was looking at his credits today. I wish I had wrote them down a little bit, but yeah, he's just got background. He's the background vocal king right now in music, and I love it because $sign is the man. Always and forever. He'll get off any charge. He'll hop on any background vocals. He has a song called Horse in the Stables. Go listen to that song. Fantastic. He's on this one, Toxic. The single cover art, so not the album cover art, but the single cover art really spoke. If you wanted to paint the word toxic, this is it. Hair's messy, leaning over the sink, looks like she's washing her mouth out. Nails long, probably 4 a.m., I would guess. And just, reflecting on all decisions that were made leading up to this point. And we've all been there. I haven't been there with the nails long, but everything except that, I have been there. Something that I don't even know if she noticed, but within toxic behavior within itself, alcohol plays a part in 99% of toxic situations. And, it is what it is. People drink. I drink. It happens. You make shitty decisions on alcohol. And it's interesting because sometimes you almost do it on purpose. Like the lyric in the song, it says, Don Julio, make me a fool for you. And, it's not like in a situation like that, you don't already have the thoughts and feelings of that purpose or of that person, excuse me. And then you can shift your mind to think sometimes like, I want to talk to them, but I can't just reach out blatantly. So let me drink. And then I'll shoot a text. And then you kind of just mask your behavior with that. That's almost the definition of toxic right there. And, I get it. If you've never been there, you've never done that. Shout out to you. Congrats. Track 2, Can I? Probably the freakiest and nastiest song on this album. I didn't realize that exactly until I started looking up the lyrics and trying to break it down. And she went full reign, and that gave him full reign. And shit got freaky, like I was saying. I didn't say that at the beginning for nothing. She's just talking her shit. She's talking her talk about, just seducing the man and having him lust over her. And if that's what she's got to do to get him over, and that's what she's got to do to, eventually love her, then that's what she's gonna do. And then Tory Lanez comes in and goes off the same theme. He has the same harmonizing scheme on his verse as she does with her first two verses, which I love that in this setting of the song. Is don't switch it up. Just plug in your lyrics and your voice and your tone, and just have the same flow of the song continue out. There are songs where it's needed for somebody to switch up, but in a setting like this, where it's kind of a quicker song, just plug in and do your thing and get out. And if you can make it memorable, which, you know, he is starting to do that on a lot of his features, then you got a special artist. And Tory Lanez is becoming a special artist. But the funniest thing about this song, to me, is they go through this entire just crazy, freaky song of just saying some of the nastiest things that's on the album. And he ends his verse, which is the third verse, with, "I just want one thing. That's a phone call." You just talked about 7 things that you wanted, 19 things that you wanted. That was some of the nastiest, freakiest shit that I could hear. And you end it with, "I just want one thing. That's a phone call." Come on, man. I'm just playing. That's fire. He's fire. Track 3, Bad News. This went from one of my a song that was a little low on the totem pole in regards to my favorites, to one of my absolute top 5 favorites very quickly when I started to understand the song a little more. But first and foremost, we have a shout out. And this shout out goes to Jahan Sweet, who is the producer of this song. I thought, and then I confirmed, that he is from Jacksonville, Florida, which is where I'm from. And that's awesome. And I am so glad that he is out here on Kehlani's album. He's got a ton more credits that I'm not going to get into right now, but I'm sure that I will come back to him at some point. And I am so proud of this dude, and I don't even know him, but I am so proud of this dude for killing it. Grew up here, ended up going to Juilliard. At least that's what it says on the internet. And, you know, I'm going to bring him up every time I come across him, because I'm glad that he's in the limelight. I'm glad he's from this city, and he's also very good at what he does. I mean, this Bad News beat, he's got like 2 or 3 more songs on this album, and you know, he's killing it right now, especially with this album being the latest thing that he's dropped. He is killing it right now. So shout out to Jahan Sweet. We're keeping an eye on you. None of your shit's going unnoticed. Anytime you come across here, I'm bringing it up. And this song is a very dueling parts to this song. I mean, it is a full-fledged ballad almost. Well, I wouldn't say full-fledged, but it is a ballad about really dating a gangster or a gang member. And I found out that Kehlani's father had passed away when she was young due to gang violence. And I think she said along the way that, you know, the situation she was in, and that drew inspiration for this song, was able to bring some more of those emotions out of her in the same sense. More as alluding to, you know, she was probably involved with someone that, you know, was involved with activity along those lines. And, you know, I mean, it's really about just trying to reel somebody back in. Yeah. I mean, it's, yeah, I've never experienced anything along those lines, but you know, the concept of reeling somebody in from what they're getting into, maybe you're not a fan, you know, that's a tough situation for anybody, I'm sure. And I mean, she just puts it so lovely, really. She just puts it so lovely, like the way she sings it about it in this song. And yeah, I really really like just the whole flow of of the way that she is able to, you know, dance in and out of the beat and just very beautifully say what she wants to say in regards to trying to reel a guy back in, and just spend time with her. And I listened to the song a decent amount of times before really understanding what it was about. And in the second, and I always liked the, cocking of the gun in the second verse. And now it just makes so much more sense. Track 4, Real Hot Girl Skit. Shout out to the Stallion. Track 5, it's called Water. Really, the 808s on this song is what stands out the most to me. I mean, just kicking as soon as that chorus hits, I am jigging to this joint. I mean, this is a fun track. This chorus is so fun. It is so fun. I love this song. And then, the whole theme of the song is just multiple metaphors within or with water. The first 5 lines, I believe, mention Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. And I didn't know that all of those were water astrology signs. I'm not too much into astrology, but I mean, that's, super interesting. And then from there, the water metaphors continue and continue and continue, really leading into, pre-sex emotions. It's fun. I mean, but the chorus is the best part of that song for me. And the sample is beautiful. I cannot recall exactly what song is sampled, but the sample on that song is awesome. Track 6, Change Your Life, featuring Janae. Let's go. Janae and Kehlani on a song together. I never thought I'd see it. I never thought I wouldn't see it. But when I saw it, it made complete sense. I think Janae is a little older than Kehlani. And Kehlani was talking about her. Janae definitely has helped her move through the music business over the past year or so, or year prior to releasing this album. And she was just really harping on the fact that Janae is just such a dope person, which backs up everything I was saying earlier. And if we're going to get Kehlani and Janae moving through the music industry over the next several years together, making joints back and forth, I mean, we are in for some treats. I love those two as a team moving through the whole thing. The verses, nothing in particular stood out too much within the verses. I mean, both of these women have beautiful voices, which is why I'm covering these 2 albums. And so, nothing needs to be outlandishly said for it to be a beautiful song. So the beat as well is awesome. And really what kind of brought this whole song to its peak is the 4 thumps that come in on the chorus. Really just kind of set the tone for the whole way that this that the vibe is given out on this song. I mean, it's one of my favorite choruses on the album for sure. And then after Janae's verse, they're harmonizing on that chorus. And if you listen closely, I mean, you can hear both their voices, and it just sounds so beautiful. And when you get artists that you wouldn't expect to collaborate on a song together, like in a way like these two, it's one thing if you're able to just, get a chorus or a verse from one, but to be able to experience hearing both of their voices together at the same time is very special. It's very special because sometimes like engineers almost won't even allow you to do that if you're not in the same studio. It's just like it's one of those things that you have to, it's very, very precise how to put that together. Having two people sing together on the chorus and for it to sound very seamless. And it is a joy and a blessing whenever you get two artists with beautiful voices able to harmonize together on a chorus like that. So definitely when I really heard Janae come in on that chorus, and then she comes in with the ad libs on it as well. That's beautiful. Track 7, She Belonged to the Streets skit. Shout out Future. Track 8, Everybody's Business, which obviously is why track 7 is why that skit is the way it is. Just talking about her, really her business being out to everyone. And there's a couple interviews that she went really in depth in this song, and she, has had some high profile relationships, and really what she's trying to get, the message that she's trying to get across is she doesn't give a fuck about it being public, like as in the paparazzi being on her and just, media outlets reporting on who she's dating, this and that. She's just passionate about love itself and just passionate about, being with somebody. Obviously, through the first 4 songs, very physical kind of person within a relationship. So she's just like, yeah, this song's just a big fuck you to paparazzi and media. Like, you're just reporting on my relationships. Yeah, I've had a couple relationships, and they've been public. And there's nothing else to it. There's a lyric on the chorus of this song. My big old age. That was one that I just don't know about. I don't think I've ever said that in a sentence. And she hit some super high notes on that chorus. Maybe some of the highest notes on the entire album. And they sound beautiful. That is a beautiful, beautiful joint. Everybody's Business. And it's so personal to her as well. Very, very good joint. Very good record. Track 9 might be my favorite song on the album. Very relatable. A song called Hate the Club. Jahan Sweet produced. We got you, Jahan. As soon as this bass kicks in, as soon as the beat comes in from your speakers, just the immediate feel you get correlates beautifully with the whole theme of the song. You're just moving through a club, just smoky in there. You're drunk as shit, and you just know, that somebody you don't want to see is in there. And damn, she paints this picture wonderfully. And it's interesting because it is relatable from a lot of different perspectives, but she's got multiple lyrics in there that kind of paint the picture from like a stardom standpoint. DJ saying my name, DJ shouting me out. Not everybody's just getting the DJ to shout him out. And, talking about she's in her section, he's in his section. But it's it's an awesome song. And if they were in the studio, had this whole song laid out, I don't know how it went. But if somebody said, "Hey, we should get somebody to just float on a saxophone all the way through this," and they brought in Masajo, I think that's how you pronounce his name, or Masego, one of the two. I apologize for whichever one is incorrect. He killed all those notes that he was hitting on the saxophone the whole way through. I saw this track list come through, and I saw multiple artists that I love, and he was the only one I didn't know from the track list, from a feature standpoint. And I don't know if it was something about his name or just the way it was. I was like, there's gonna be something unique to this. It's not just some random person that she's trying to give somewhat of a platform to either sing or rap or something. I don't know what it was about it. I think it's his name. I think Masajo just kind of sounds like a dude that plays the saxophone. And he killed it. He killed it through the whole thing. I wouldn't be surprised if he did that in one take. If he heard the song a couple times, plug the sax in. Let's do this. And then just freestyled over the whole song. Wouldn't be surprised. That's hard to do, but I still wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I mean, and just the whole theme of her being in the club. She sees her ex or guy she's on and off with, whoever. She's just saying, if I drink enough, I'll make my way over there. She's raw. She gets to the depths of emotion that a lot of us have felt and are very, not only are we not able to put it into words, but straight up afraid to put those into words, to just try to bury them as low as you can so they don't seem real. And she brings them out and puts them on a track and releases it to the world. And it's special. She's got a special talent for really bringing in toxic feelings, which is, her intro track is toxic. And I like that stamp that she has of just kind of owning that a lot of us have these emotions and feelings in regards to just, super, lust and greed and jealousy. They're impossible to fight. They're impossible emotions to fight. It's really just how well can you fight them off. It's not purely defeating them. It's just how well can you fight them off. That's just that's really the best you can do. And she just owns the fact that we all go through this stuff, and she puts it all into words. And there's a lot of artists that are scared to go as deep as she does into the descriptions of these words, or of these, of these emotions and feelings. Track 10, Serial Lover. This is the one that she did with Boy Wonder, who, is, if you've heard Drake, you've heard Boy Wonder. And, following up on what I was saying a second ago, really just owning her, I wouldn't say faults, but just what, what make up her emotions. Serial Lover, couldn't explain it any better in the title of the track. Really, there are a lot of ways you can move through a relationship or work in a relationship. And the way that she describes it here is she's really not afraid to get deep, somewhat quickly with somebody. And, with that comes a lot of different, ups and downs. But if that's what you, if you're able to do it and get out of it and come out somewhat unscathed, congrats. There were a few lyrics in this song getting real, like just things I was like, Wait, I thought you've been digging deep, and you were going even deeper. I mean, I've got bodies I'm going to take to the grave. That's such a, that is such a line. I'm trying to even find words for it. It's so in your face and just up front. Another lyric on that song that caught my attention, just from a pure rawness standpoint, was, I got girls I want to give my last name. I'm pretty sure that's the following lyric. And it's just like, it's like I've been saying all this crazy shit, and I got even more crazy shit that I want to talk about. Maybe not now. Maybe just give them a line. I got girls that want to give my last name. And the chicks, sweet. Very sweet. Track 11, Fucking Make Up. Jahan Sweet produced. And it's a dope instrumental. He is all over this joint, and he's killing it all over this whole record. Really, I mean, fucking make up like Maybelline. Make up like Maybelline. She just had to get that one in there. Yeah, it's an awesome track. She's some honestly that stood out, which has kind of been an underlying moment throughout the whole album. Her ad-libs and her own background vocals. I know Dollar Sign is the background vocal king, but her background vocals all over this album are very impressive. And I mean, there's some lyrics in this song that, I mean, I wouldn't say irked me, but I mean, it's about her really pissing a dude off to get her attention, taking her home, and treating her how she wanted to be treated. And, debate with whoever you're with about if that's cool to do or not. Sometimes it turns out good later. But, in the moment it's, like she's been doing the entire album, just owning these toxic moments that we, or a lot of people, have gone through, do go through. And it's really almost savagely beautiful to see somebody really just take these moments and put them into words. Sometimes they're tough to listen to. So you're like, damn, like you don't got to piss them off like that. But nothing is as pretty as it seems on the outside. She goes through these moments. We go through these moments. That just straight toxic behavior. Track 12, Can You Blame Me, featuring Lucky Day. My boy Lucky. I went to the LMA concert in March of 2019. March of 2019. Met Ella too. Drop an album soon. I'll talk about it. And Lucky Day was one of the openers. And I was very impressed. In today's musical age, when new artists, new songs are flying at you left and right, it's one of the most refreshing things that can happen to me, and hopefully to you, to learn about a new artist at a concert. Like that is a moment that you do not get anymore. It used to be one of the only ways to learn about an artist. Now it is very rare to hear about an up and coming artist and then he starts blowing up after you saw him in concert, and that's the first time you ever heard about him. So I am on the Lucky Day train. He's got some great songs. The comparisons to Frank Ocean are going to be inevitable, just the tone of their voices. He was actually in a cult growing up, and they were not allowed to listen to secular music, which I believe the definition of secular is music not about church. It's either that or it's the other way around, but I think that is it. Yeah, that's it. And So hey, thanks for. I mean, thanks for getting out of there and making music, because you got some dope shit, man. Dope shit. And she sounds wonderful in this joint. Talk about. I mean, I keep bringing up the word toxic, but I mean, there's a reason that she led that song off, or let off the album with that song. It's the whole theme of it. Just a failing relationship, hooking up, hating each other, hanging out, a revolving cycle. And one of my favorite parts of this song is Lucky Day comes in. First off, his first line was, say it umpteen times. And I don't know about the word umpteen in a verse, but you make it sound cool, man. You make it sound cool. I'm gonna start using umpteen in my regular vocabulary. Yeah, he's got a great, it's not the longest verse, but I hope that that's able to set a tone for what he's got coming up, and I'm glad that he landed on this album. And maybe my favorite part is his verse ends. He's got the second verse. She comes in on the third verse, I believe, and there is no chorus in between. And it's, the arrangements of the instruments make it seem like she was just like, hey, get out of the way. Like, I got more to say on this track. I got more to say on what is at hand. And then she just starts firing off lyric after lyric after lyric. And yeah, she doesn't play around. She doesn't play around. And shout out to Lucky Day. I cannot wait to hear more new music from you, because I know that this is a sweet spot in his career. I know he got a little late start. I think he's in his mid-30s. And I know that he is trying to come out the gate firing. And I am pumped for some new Lucky Day. If you hear this, be on the lookout for Lucky Day. Track 13, Grieving. This track is probably the most emotional track on the album. I mean, anytime you bring James Blake in to a song, it's gonna have a certain tone to it that really is unmatched to almost anything going on in the industry right now. He has such a unique voice. And yeah, well, first let me talk about her spot. I mean, there's a reason the song Grieving is the second or the third to last track on the album, because you're in the grieving stage. Like I said, this whole album is thematically placed from the failing part of a relationship through the breakup. Now we're here at the grieving stage. And yeah, I mean, she arranges the chorus beautifully. And I love how the kick on the chorus really hits on the last second that it's able to hit for it to still make sense, which gives it just like an undertone feel, which I've heard in other songs. I can't think of any off the top of my head right now, but I've heard that in other songs where the kick on the beat just lands at the last moment that it can. And it just gives like a almost slowed down, somewhat of like a chopped and screwed moment within a song that lets you breathe for a second and take in what is happening. And it almost isn't the breath of the song. It's like the release of the breath of the song. I'm out here making my own metaphors. And yeah, James Blake comes in, and I mean, this man is really, really special. He was on Stop Trying to Be God with Travis at the end. Travis has a song on his album, Assume Form. And he did a couple collaborations with Metro Boomin as well. I remember an interview maybe in 2013 or 14. Kanye West just blatantly said, "Let me tell y'all right now, James Blake is the next thing." And everyone was like, "Okay, Kanye West doesn't just co-sign anybody that blatantly. Obviously, this guy is special." I've been listening to his music for a while. I've never been just a super fan of his, but everything he's dropped for the past 6-7 years, I've always tried to get into a decent amount, and his talent is just so undeniable with what he is trying to accomplish. He lands on everything that he does. And I mean, some of his lyrics. Be an ashtray to your habits. Be an ashtray to your habits? That is such a good line. You would think that it's used before. You would think that like somebody has made that metaphor before. I guess never. And man, I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, whoa, be an ashtray to your habits. You're just watching the ash of a cigarette fall right on you. And that's just that ash is just everything that you know is wrong that they do to you. But whatever, bring it on. I still love you. And I didn't even realize the next couple lines of the song because how good I couldn't get over. Every time I heard that lyric, I couldn't get over how good that lyric was, that I just skipped over the next couple lines, which ended up being metaphors, which didn't hit me as hard. But I mean, a moon to my sea and a juice to my squeeze. Both just separate objects describing a push and pull factor and just not being able to connect with the person that you're trying to connect to. It is just such a uniquely orchestrated song, and it is definitely in one of my top 3 favorites it's definitely my top 3 favorite in this album. The beat is so hazy, and damn, I'm playing that as soon as this is over. Now I'm thinking about it. The outro, which, kind of outro. There's Lexi's outro where she's just getting bars off. But really the outro to the story is this passionate, open, in parentheses. And, it's really about trying to have an open relationship. Which I guess at this point she's grieving. She doesn't want to be grieving. She doesn't want this to be over. So just throws out the idea, why don't we just be together but also see other people? It's a tough concept. The first verse and chorus. So there's two songs into one. The first song is also broken up, or also is telling 2 stories. The first verse and the first chorus, she is talking about him in a situation where he's on tour. Also, another song where she's placing us in the minds of celebrities, artists, people performing, which is so interesting when we can hear an artist do that. She's talking about him being in a situation where, a girl might come up, you got girls backstage surrounding them, whatever. And then she just addresses that whole situation within the chorus. And then the second verse, she flips it. She's like, and she's in a strip club. There's a girl dancing. She's drinking. And then she flips the words on the second chorus to make it to where she's talking about herself. And she's like, what if I slip up this time? I was just talking about what if you slip up? Well, what if I slip up? I was the one who was trying to do this whole thing. And I gave the idea to having an open relationship. Now I might slip up. And it's super cool to see her be like, yeah, what if you slip up? But I can't deny that, what if I slip up? It's good that you own it. And then, yeah, that second part, passionate, just a beautiful guitar, and she's just really singing about, beautiful acoustic guitar, and she's really just singing about just her passion for love and life itself. And it's a nice few bars, and overall, great way to close her story of that album. She has Lexi's outro on there. It's you can't deny that Lexi is spitting bars on there. But yeah, she's just really spitting bars. But I think I'm just gonna stick to the whole story of the album. And yeah, it's probably my favorite R&B album from a woman this year. Definitely, that is my favorite album from a woman this year. It's very well orchestrated, and I didn't even talk about it at the beginning, which I'm not going to get too deep into. But apparently, the label told her, said, because of quarantine and because of coronavirus, we want you to delay the album. She said she didn't want to. They said, okay, well, you have to release it yourself and market it yourself and shoot the videos for yourself and shoot the cover art for yourself. And she said, fuck y'all, I'm doing it. And she did it. And it's very successful from an industry standpoint. And she did it all herself. Apparently, she had her photographer move in with her, so they were able to shoot videos, quarantine style. And she just had, she and her photographer did the whole cover art by themselves. Really kudos to Kehlani for taking that into her own hands and doing some real boss shit, and just saying, I don't need this label. They're really trying to screw me with the timing, and I'm taking it into my own hands, and I'm going full force on it. So, hell yeah. That's the kind of shit that I like to hear within the industry. And when artists are able to do stuff like that, that's called work ethic. And I always respect a good work ethic. No matter what the music sounds like or anything, I'll always respect a good work ethic. In any lane of life, actually. Not even just music. Sports. Careers. Parenthood. Friendship. Whatever. Always respect a good work ethic. So yeah. That pretty much sums it up for this Kehlani album. It's one of my favorites so far this year. And I hope to do some more Kehlani at some point.